There's a new one coming out too. Well, let's go back to our top story now. That is, of course, the developments in Ankara and Washington that could have the makings of a major diplomatic setback between the two longtime allies. Now, in the US Congress, as you've heard, a House committee narrowly passed a resolution stating that Turkey did take part in the genocide of Armenian civilians during World War I. Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan had this to say.
The
United States will bring a weakness to the unity existing in this part of the world. Just as well, Armenia will destroy our positive approach for the future. Who will benefit from this? It will only create opportunities for the Armenian diaspora, and diaspora will sacrifice Armenia for its own interests.
Meanwhile, on another front, Prime Minister Erdogan's ruling party is seeking approval for staging cross-border operations inside northern Iraq, targeting Kurdish rebels.
Turkey's problems with Kurdish rebels and the group known as the PKK are not new. Ankara has ordered its troops over the border a number of times, trying to hunt down and destroy the insurgents there. If Turkey can't defeat the PKK, it could be that very few people, even no one, can. With insight, here's Jonathan Mann. John.
The PKK, the Kurdistan Workers' Party, is no party. The terror campaign it's waged against Turkish soldiers and civilians has taken thousands of lives and dragged on for decades. You'd think by now someone would be able to end it, but in strictly military terms, when it comes to the problem of the PKK, no one can really win. The Iraqi army, for example, is all wrong for the job. It's not deployed in Iraqi Kurdistan, and it's not welcome there. Even if it were, it probably couldn't defeat the Kurdish insurgents. Remember, it hasn't had much luck with the insurgents it's already fighting further south. Iraqi Kurds do have their own army, though, the Peshmerga. They don't want the job. They don't like fighting fellow Kurds, and they are already busy trying to protect Kurdistan and helping the Iraqi army itself south in Baghdad. Then there is Turkey's army. Turkey has crossed the border maybe 20 times in the last 20 years. What does that tell you about how successful they've been? The last big operation in 1997 involved upwards of 30 or 40,000 troops. But the main PKK bases aren't easy for the Turks to get to. They're hidden in the mountains along the border with Iran, a remote place that's perfect for guerrilla war. The Turks can roll in again, but the PKK would have plenty of time to hide or just get out of the way. So that leaves one big army we haven't mentioned, the U.S. Army. It's done everything it can to avoid anyone fighting in Iraqi Kurdistan. The U.S. has no real troop presence there, and it's struggling to solve Iraq's other problems. So, like just about everybody else, it doesn't want the job. If anyone's thinking of a military solution, the problem with the PKK isn't going away. Back to you.
Jonathan Mann there. Thanks, John. More on the volatile situation now. Let's turn to Kubad Talabani. He is the US representative of the Kurdish regional government in Iraq, also the son of the Iraqi president, Jalal Talabani. So thanks for your time. How concerned are you that Turkey could or would carry out full-scale incursions into the Kurdish area of northern Iraq?
We are concerned about anything that heightens tensions between us as the Kurdistan regional government and any of our neighbors, be it Iran, be it Turkey. We're watching the news closely. We're sending messages to our friends in Turkey that violence is not the mechanism to resolve these issues. We were horrified by the loss of life of the Turkish soldiers and civilians over the weekend, and we strongly condemned those actions. But at the same time, we don't feel that two wrongs will make a right. And then if Turkey violates Iraq's borders and intervenes militarily in Iraq unilaterally, this will face strong condemnation from Iraq, from the Kurdistan regional government, and undoubtedly from the international community.
Just condemnation? I mean, what would happen if there was a large-scale attack into the Kurdish region? Obviously, it's been considered.
Well, Turkey has waged a war against the PKK for several decades, and they've never really been able to defeat them militarily. As the report clearly stated, this group is in a very remote part of the region. They're hidden in caves and in a very mountainous part of the region, which makes it very difficult for a conventional army to fight. So we don't think that there will be a successful military operation against the PKK. We do think that this issue can be resolved through politics, through through diplomacy and more importantly, through dialogue. We are ready to facilitate this dialogue. We've extended a hand of friendship to the government in Turkey. We feel that we can play a constructive role in bringing peace to our region and securing our important border.
What about the Peshmerga? What about Kurdish militiamen in the north of Iraq? Turkey's obviously saying that the PKK is coming across on some occasions, carrying out attacks in Turkey, on Turkish soil, then going back into those mountainous regions, which are part of Iraq. Why doesn't the Kurdish Peshmerga go and take care of business itself and stop this from happening?
The Kurdistan Regional Government has stated explicitly that we will not allow our region to be used as a base of operations against any of our neighbors. And we are working with Turkey to secure our borders, to prevent people from infiltrating into and out of Turkey. We don't have evidence that any of these terrible attacks that have taken place inside Turkey have emanated from Iraqi Kurdistan. There are 3,000 or 4,000 PKK members inside the Kurdistan region of Iraq, but there are probably tens of thousands of PKK people already inside Turkey. And this is why it's imperative for there to be a security dialogue between Turkey and the Kurdistan Regional Government, so we can have a security-to-security relationship and prevent these attacks from happening inside Turkey, or if they're generating from our territory, we can prevent that also.
The Kurdish Peshmerga have always had an amazing reputation for looking after their own security. One imagines they don't want the Iraqi army coming up there. They don't want the US taking this on. What is the Kurdish Peshmerga, the militia, doing? You said that they're taking action. What action? Are they up there looking for PKK? Are they securing the border?
No, there is the Kurdish Defense Forces have created a security belt around the area where the PKK are at. We're preventing them from coming into the towns and villages and assimilating into Iraqi Kurdistan. We're also protecting the borders with Iraq and with Turkey now, but as you well know, these are very treacherous borders. They're very porous borders. They're very mountainous borders. So it's always impossible to create 100% foolproof border security. The Kurdistan Defense Forces, the Peshmerga, are primarily responsible for defending the Kurdistan region. They have engaged in security operations outside of Kurdistan at the request of the central government in Baghdad.
Okay.
They've been very key elements of the Baghdad security plan and have performed quite admirably.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Muqaddam Talabani is certainly the most stable part of Iraq, and everyone around it wants it to stay that way. Representative of the Kurdish Regional Government of Iraq and son of the current president, appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.